This is a PoetryBurst video for Kamikaze by Beatrice Garland. First, let's read the poem. Her father embarked at sunrise with a flask of water, a samurai sword in the cockpit, a shaven head full of powerful incantations and enough fuel for a one-way journey into history. But halfway there, she thought, recounting it later to her children, he must have looked far down at the little fishing boats, strung out like bunting on a green-blue translucent sea, and beneath them, arcing in swathes like a huge flag, waved first one way, then the other in a figure of 8. The dark shoals of fishes flashing silver as their bellies swiveled towards the sun, and remembered how he and his brothers waiting on the shore built cairns of pearl grey pebbles to see whose withstood longest the turbulent inrush of breakers, bringing their father's boat safe, yes, grandfather's boat, safe to the shore, salt-sodden, awash with cloud-marked mackerel, black crabs, feathery prawns, the loose silver of whitebait, and once a tuna, the dark prince, muscular, dangerous. And though he came back, my mother never spoke again in his presence, nor did she meet his eyes, and the neighbours too, they treated him as though he no longer existed. Only we children still chattered and laughed, till gradually we too learned to be silent, to live as though he had never returned, that this was no longer the father we loved. And sometimes, she said, he must have wondered which would be the better way to die. The poem is about a kamikaze pilot. The word kamikaze originates from Japanese, from kami meaning divinity and kaze meaning wind. Kamikaze pilots were specially trained Japanese pilots used towards the end of World War II, who flew suicide missions into enemy ships in order to destroy them. It was considered a great honour to give your life for your country. In this poem, we explore a kamikaze pilot's journey towards battle, his decision to return, and how he is shunned when he arrives home. Conflict is presented as an internal, emotional trauma. The pilot is torn between his honour for his country and his own life. The pilot has the opportunity to fly into history as a patriot of his country. However, he turns around as he changes his mind about committing suicide. When he returns, he is shunned, ignored and disowned by his family because of his lack of honour. They are ashamed at his failure to honour his nation. It is ironic. They treat him as though he's dead, despite the fact he chose to save his own life. The use of third-person narrative creates distance and emphasises how the pilot has been cut off from society. He is denied a voice. His daughter's voice is only heard directly in the last 3 stanzas. Our first quotation is a shaven head full of powerful incantations. Our pilot embarks at sunrise, which makes his mission seem exciting and daring. However, the title itself undercuts this, as it's already told us that the pilot's journey will be to his death. Here, we find out why he is doing what he is doing. We have the adjectives shaven and full and powerful. We have the noun incantations and the metaphor powerful incantations. The phrase shaven head emphasises how he's been dehumanised and turned into a soldier. It is symbolic of the fact that the military is treating him as a weapon rather than a person. The adjective full creates an image of something which is ready to burst or spill over. This could imply the pressure of the suicide mission is too much for the pilot to handle. The adjective powerful and the noun incantations combine to form a metaphor. It seems as though the pilot has been brainwashed or put under a kind of spell. This symbolises the manipulation from the political propaganda that Japanese people were exposed to. They were convinced that it was an honour to actually die, not just to fight for your country. Our second quotation is shoals of fishes flashing silver as their bellies swiveled towards the sun. The pilot is described as looking down on the little fishing boats and the nature beside them. It makes him think of his childhood, and nature's significance seems to change his mind about what he's about to do. We have the use of sibilants with the repeated S sounds. We have the verb flashing and the verb swivelled. Natural imagery is used as nature's beauty seems to be the main reason why the pilot turned his back on his mission. It could symbolise the pilot's innate lust for life rather than death, as he ignores the honour of his duty. The verb swiveled echoes how, like the fish, the pilot has turned around swiftly. The phrase flash silver hints at the elegant movement of a samurai sword. This is ironic as the pilot has turned his back on combat. It may also allude to the visceral, blunt manner of the pilot's suggested death. There is nothing elegant about flying a plane into a warship. The repeated sibilant sounds reflect the graceful movement of the fishes. However, as sibilance usually has connotations of evil, it may foreshadow his unavoidable death. Our final quotation is, "He must have wondered which had been the better way to die." After turning his back on his mission, the pilot arrived home to his family. Instead of being happy to see him alive, they greeted him with shame, their sense of honour overriding their love for their father. We have the pronoun he, the verb wondered, and an ironic metaphor, the better way to die. The phrase better way to die is an ironic metaphor. He survived, but he's treated as though he is dead by his family. Either way, the pilot's journey was destined to end in death. His daughter argues that he may have wished that he had died with his honour intact, rather than remaining alive with none. The pronoun he and the verb wondered re-emphasise the distance between everyone and the pilot. These are his daughter's thoughts and explanations, so the pilot never has a voice and is denied a chance to explain himself. His choice to live is taken away by his family's devout patriotism. It is no longer his decision once his fate has been decided. The words are tinged with sadness, loss and regret, hinting at a slight empathy with the pilot.